whole, I was extremely impressed. Good job, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
This does not detract from my comment that I'm really impressed. I found radio and TV, I got a little depressed from your radio and TV commercials. They were kind of downers. And then, yes, you do appropriately end with your theme, your slogan, but I still don't know what to do. Now I'm depressed and I got a slogan.
Well, actually, the reason that we stayed with that theme was because we wanted to instill in our target market audience that this isn't something to be taken lightly. We wanted to get them interested and to get them to look at our brochures and to pay attention to the more detailed print ads. And if we left something with a lighter tone, it might not convey the seriousness of the issue at hand.
In some of the U.S. campaigns, I've learned that I'm supposed to I should cough into my sleeve, not into my hand. See, that told me what to do. But your radio and TV didn't tell me what to do, but it did end with the slogan. But still, that doesn't detract from my overall assessment.
Well, we also tossed around the idea of having, at the end of the TV or radio, like an 800 number at the end, or a call.
Yeah, something.
Call the public.
Something.
Right.
What to do. Call to action. Yeah.
So I understand the intent behind protect, provide, and deny, but you also have to realize, is this being communicated within your campaign too? I mean, it's a great slogan, and I know the meaning, we all know the meaning because you took the time to explain it to us, but is that meaning being transferred through your campaign or something you might want to explore? And maybe spend some segments of your campaign actually talking about protect, provide, just elaborating on these things so that people understand. Okay, now that I see the logo and I can connect with what they already mentioned about these words, and now it makes perfect sense, instead of everyone being left with their own devices trying to figure out what exactly do these three words mean.
I think that's why we did develop a series of different advertisements for the newspaper to kind of introduce the logo, and then if you read our body copy even further, it does explain it more. Again, in the series of advertisements do introduce this. At least we feel that they introduce them and explain them thoroughly.
I thought you did a really great job too. Where was the music in the TV ad from?
It was just a generic, is that the correct word? Generic background sound and chew.
Hi. The show's track. This is from a library of cinematic instrumentals out of that.
Beyond.
But keep in mind that the music can be changed just like that. We can go with the serious, or we can go with the light.
Any copyright problems?
No, those are all copyright free. Those are copyright free.
That's the problem that we did run into. We originally did have a more upbeat song in the background, but copyright issues, we did not want to, step on anybody's toes or anything like that. So,
is there any portion of the population of Palau that questions whether climate change is a reality?
We didn't address that question in our survey or really in our research. What we did find was that people are very aware that their environment is changing. And again, we saw that through our survey and the results that we got back in all of the interviews. People did know that, from when they were little, because we interviewed a lot of older people, they did say that it's warmer and it's, definitely crops are being affected, and I'm not farming the way that my mother, taught me how to, because I can't. So I believe, and I think that the team that went to Palau can agree that a lot of people are very aware and do believe that this is happening and it's affecting them.
I'm really impressed with your campaign, so this doesn't... your communication objectives and advertising objectives, they all deal with awareness or establishing the minds. Don't you want to get some behavior change? Not just what they know, but what they do?
Well, our main campaign focus at this stage in the campaign, it's only a 6-month campaign. We really wanted to get them thinking about the public health impacts of global climate change. That was something that we constantly had to keep reminding ourselves as we were working on the campaign, that we aren't here to tell them about global climate change, but we are here to tell them about how global climate change affects them. And we wanted to keep that in mind with our awareness campaign.
Just a couple of comments, go very quickly. One is that the survey instrument itself, one of the things when you're looking at a population that you're trying to represent, about 18 to 20,000 Palauans, and to choose a sample of that population that's representative, and then when you're looking at trying to say this is representative of what all Palauans may think, you may want to choose a larger sample size, for example, of about 240, over 210 to 240 people. The statistical power that you'll get will be more accurate, and you'll be able to say that you have about a 95% accuracy, or at least a predictive interval for what your statistics are. You were saying 45% of Palauans. In order to be 95% sure that that 45% of Palauans is accurate, a little bit larger sample size may do with that. And it depends on the target population. When you're talking about these large populations, once you get over about 240, your accuracy doesn't really improve significantly. So that may help in your future as well. And overall, I'd just like to make a comment regarding the program here, what I'm seeing. This particular slogan, I really think that it's very, very good. I agree with you. I think that this is an excellent slogan. And protect, provide, unite. Also, it translates well when we're talking about one word that can translate into one word into another language. When we do our work in other countries, we find that in some cases we may have one sentence that in another language may translate into 5 sentences. It becomes very clumsy to say. So being very simple and direct in this aspect will also translate. I'd also love to hear what the Palauans say about those particular words, and if they're also succinct words or if they're a series of words as well. But I like the idea. It does, I agree with you, it really points out what the behavior should be. Protecting, providing, uniting, and I did not quite hear exactly all those things, although I did see that linkage here. You're talking about staying hydrated, preventing mosquitoes, and so on. So I think that drawing that linkage between these is very good. Also, in addition to that slogan, the logo itself is brilliant. The logo is really, I think it's to an extent that actually would not be completely appreciated here in the United States. First off, the use of their Palauan colors of the flag itself is going to be very familiar with people as well. The circle as well in the Palauan flag also very people are going to be able to recognize that. Also as well, the cyclical nature of life is also very much Pacific. There was an editorial that we did at CDC about 8 years ago about the Pacific viewpoint, and they actually, we talked about that idea that American thought is linear, that our lives are linear and they somehow end. And Palauan's view is that one life ends, another life begins, and all of life is cyclical. And that also learning is cyclical. By going through and making mistakes, you reinvent yourself. And so this, I think, that one of the strongest points of your program, of your presentation, is this particular logo. It's really very good. And then finally, I want to just say 3 things about this particular project itself. First off, is I agree, this is a very good presentation. This is very, very insightful of what you've done. And I think that in a short period of time, in 7 days spent inside, and then the hard work that you've done outside of Palau, I think you've really picked up a lot of the kinds of things that Palauan culture will have here. So I think that I want to congratulate you and the SIU as well on the good work that you've done of really capturing many things that it takes years for people to learn by working in the Pacific. And there's some of these concepts that you've done almost intuitively. The second thing I'd like to point out is that I think that you've learned a lot about the project in that you're doing cause marketing instead of product marketing. Doesn't that feel different? Doesn't that feel different in your heart? It's resonant leadership. You really have been able to feel what this really means. And I just wanted to say finally that you are going to make a difference in this nation. This is really going to happen. This is already happening. These traditional leaders are already talking about this project. The change is already occurring in Palau. Palau is also a leader in that region, and they're sharing that information already. Now that before this campaign has even started, they're sharing this among other islands, and other islands are lining up and saying, how do we get a piece of this? And then the other thing I think is very important to point out is that $77,000 that you're talking about for the entire campaign, that's chicken feed. You're talking about impacting an entire nation. Some of the numbers you're talking about reaching 3,000 people, that's 25% of the population of this nation. So it's really talking about changing people's lives for a long period of time. And I just want to share with you that we're already here, and you have already done that without the campaign beginning. I think there's 2 models that have learned here. you've learned about Palau, and Palauans have learned about themselves by participating in this. And so the next step is to be able to provide this. And I know there's a laundry list of different sponsors that think $77,000 is something that you missed zero. And so they're going to be looking at this very, very closely. This is easy to either put together to get all in one package or piecemeal. And so I just want to say I'm really very pleased to see what you're doing. And I'd also encourage you, keep track of what this little nation is going to be doing as a result of this project. Please feel free to contact us and stay in contact with CDC with us, because you're going to see the seed that you've planted grow into fruition, and it's going to be a little bit more than the typical class project. So congratulations.
Thank you.